Who do you got, Kyle?
All right. So I took a spin just like everybody else on this, which is fun because it's easy to go Lemieux, Gretzky, throw in Orr, whoever you want in net, walk because he was the greatest ever. Sorry, Grant Fuhr, you're number 2. But I decided to go with guys who have never won the Stanley Cup. They're all going to win it together. So I'm going to start on my back end. Got Brad Park. He drafted 2nd overall in 66. The guy was smart. He was calm. He controlled the puck. He would play the puck. He could move it and he could score. He would hold it for so long he would intimidate guys because they would just turn around and not know what to do. He was the best D-man next to Orr, coming 2nd in Norris voting 7 times. He made the Rangers a serious cup contender and he was traded to Boston as the captain of the Rangers. Now, the odd part about this is when he was with the Rangers, he had a police escort him to the building. He had 896 points during an 18-year career.
That's crazy to think that you'd be behind. The only thing that stopped you from winning the Norris was Bobby Orr.
7
times in a row. It's just unfathomable.
Yeah, the kid was good. Yeah, so his Hall of Fame was in 88.
I never realized. Nobody thinks about the second place guy. But being second place to Bobby Orr is not an insult by any means. That's really impressive. I'm really impressed when I was reading up on him. Looks like he was just fantastic at everything.
Yeah, I believe it was 6 times to Bobby Orr and once to Denny Potvin. But regardless, 7 times 2nd in Norris voting. The guy was hands down first ballot Hall of Fame without even blinking. Stupid good defenseman that nobody seems to remember.
And he never won.
Never won a cup. Never won a cup. Next up, I'm going to go Sweden here. It's not Håkan Loob because he didn't play defense. We're going Borgio Salming, the underwear designer and the guy who was a nude model at the age of 56. He's also a hockey equipment manufacturer. But the guy on the ice, he was fluid. He'd go end to end. He was tough. He was determined. When nobody thought Swedes or Europeans could be tough, he proved that they could play in North America, and he paved the way for guys like Loob, Kent Nilsson, Pelle Lindbergh. The list goes on and on. Mats Naslund, for these guys to come across the pond and make an impact. He'd block shots with ease. He played at some game during his childhood. It was like stickball or something where you had to block the shot, so he just did it naturally. The guy ended up taking 200 stitches to the face from a skate blade and returned 3 days later. So if that's not toughness, you tell me what is.
That man's a warrior.
Yeah, he's one of the first European players to go into the Hall of Fame back in 1996, and he can play on my team any day of the week. Now let's move up front. Unfortunately, none of these guys won a cup. It's sad to say. I'm going to start off with Marcel Dion, who was 2nd overall in 1971, went to Detroit. He was traded to the Kings after only 4 years and became the face of that franchise. At the time, he had the rookie record of 76 points in a season. The kid was a true natural goal scorer. He scored highlight reel goals. He could skate through teams. He was so good on his edges, so good on his skates, and that's back when he had little rubber nubs on the back of your blades. Yeah, the guy was lights out smooth. He was part of the Triple Crown line with Charlie Simmer and Dave Taylor. 50 goals more than 6 times. Jeez, indeed. He won the scoring title over Gretzky one year with 137 points. When he retired, he had 731 goals, and that was 2nd all-time at that point. Easily first ballot Hall of Famer back in 92.
Yeah, and he's 29 points shy of 1,800. That's insane, and no cups. That's not his fault by any stretch of the imagination.
No, that's all going to expansion LA.
I didn't realize, you hear Marcel Dion, I never realized how good he was. But looking at his stats, watching some video, you can't go wrong. That guy could center any line, any all-time line ever, and fit in just fine.
It makes you think what has gone wrong with some of these teams because there's been so many great players over the years that have never won, and you always wonder why.
Only one team can win it, and back then there was 18 teams in the league. Now we're sitting at, going on to 32. So if every team wins it once, that's 32-year cycle. It's tough to win. It's a challenge. But he's going to be playing with Dale Howardchuk, former Winnipeg Jet. Dude's a straight-up sniper. He's not a scrapper. However, he did get into one fight that I saw on the old YouTube channel, and he fought Dennis Savard. If you don't know who Dennis Savard is, you got to go check that out. He did not hold himself well against Denny Savard, but it was fun to watch. This man once scored 8 goals in a Pee Wee tournament. The team won 8-1, which beat Guy Lafleur's record at the time. So fantastic scoring touch at a young age. He was a first overall pick. He won the Calder. He turned the Jets franchise around. He helped build up the Sabres franchise after he was traded with Brad May. And in that deal was Phil Housley and also a first-round pick, which became Keith Tkachuk. So that was a high-profile deal at the time. He had 5 consecutive 100-point seasons. He was on the 87 Team Canada Cup. He won that face-off on that iconic goal with Gretzky and Lemieux. They never would have got that going if Howard Chuck wasn't on the ice. And his only Cup appearance was in 97 with the Flyers. 16-year career, 1,409 points, Hall of Fame 2001.
He's the name that you always hear come up when people talk about guys who never won the Cup that should have, and that's for good reason. He always led his team by example. He scored, and he was an honest player. You can't go wrong. You can't go wrong with a guy like Howard Chuck.
I can't believe he tried to fight Savard.
Oh no, he didn't try.
They fought.
Yeah, they dropped the mitts.
That's crazy.
It's so brutal to watch. You watch that, and then you throw on a Tony Twist fight after, and you don't even think you're watching the same thing. It's hilarious.
I'll have to check that out because that sounds really interesting. I never knew that.
Yeah, it was fun. I was scrolling around, but yeah, all those years. So back in the '80s, it was the Flames and the Oilers always advancing, going to the Cup Finals. The only time they didn't is when they ran into the Jets and Howard Chuck stepped up. He put the stop into the Oilers. He put the stop into the Flames, and that's the only reason why those teams like the Calgary Flames didn't advance further. Or the year in '86 and '89 is Dale Howard Chuck stopped the Oilers.
It must have been a terrible time to be such a great team when you have to go up against the Oilers.
Well, the Jets weren't a really good team. They had 2 or 3 good pieces, one of them being Pokey Reddick, but I'm a little biased. And then next to him, we're going to go with the Russian rocket, Pavel Bure. Pavel Bure is a complete highlight reel. He could replace anybody on Anthony's line, and they wouldn't miss a beat. He had incredible hands. He had incredible speed. He did things that nobody had seen done at the time, and things that still people have yet to do in a game at full speed, let alone try it, not even at full speed. He's a combination, in my eyes, of Ovi's enthusiasm and McDavid's skill, only better.
That's a bold statement, Cotton. Let's see if it pays off.
Oh, Bure's better than McDavid. No question. No question in my eyes. Just to give it into some context, that's the only way to do it. The guy could get a breakaway while having the puck in the opponent's zone, behind the net. He could come out with a breakaway from that. It was unreal. He could carve up a defense, skating through them. The things he pulled off was incredible. The way he would maneuver the puck off his skates back to his stick. Fooled goalies all the time.
He was a total package.
Other than the physicality, yeah, he was a total package. He even traveled with his own masseuse.
Yeah, he was not touted for his toughness, that's for sure. But I don't think he gets enough credit for changing the game. And changing the way NHL players play the game. I think he's a huge reason why we have all these fast, skilled guys who aren't afraid to put their stick between the legs and make a crazy pass through traffic or try to beat 3 guys. And you see, as we've gotten farther from his time, there's more players who can do the stuff that he was doing, not at that same level. When you go back and watch highlights, he really was offensively head and shoulders above everybody he played with at the time. Just an absolute phenom.
Yeah, and he was one of the early Russians who was truly drafted, and that was a big concern trying to get him over. Worried about if he would be. But Vancouver made it work. The kid won the Calder Trophy. Had 779 points in 702 games. Hall of Fame in 2012 with no Stanley Cups.
He was scary to watch. Like, my memories of him on Vancouver are vague, but what I do remember is his speed.
Yeah, his Vancouver years are the most entertaining because he went to Florida and nobody was playing Florida games and Florida wasn't very good. So you lost a lot of that. When he went to New York, you did get to see him again a lot more often, being the Rangers were on TV more frequently, and you got to see him at the All-Star game and remember just how good he was. I would love that guy. Every night of the week, put him on TV, even today, because he's still involved with Russian hockey.
That begs an interesting question: do you think the drama in the '94 series against the Rangers potentially held him back, the team back.
Yeah, big time, because that's back when they were going for the cup against the Rangers, like you said. But the management created this weird story that Bure was going to be withholding his services, and it made no sense. And years later, after Bure got moved, the truth came out, and he said it pissed him off to no end because he never said that.
I wonder how that all came about. Whenever I hear that story and read into it, I'm always fascinated as to where the story got fabricated, who got that ball rolling. Because I do think without that, they kind of smeared his reputation around the league a bit. I do think he probably would have got traded to a more competitive team than Florida and probably would have won a cup or been more desired by other franchises who were on the cusp of winning if it wasn't for that 94 holdout. Alleged.
Yeah, I don't understand where it would have come from or why it would have come from. If he didn't say he was going to withhold his services, it makes no sense. Why would management bring on the drama like that to distract your team during such a pivotal cup run? The only thing that comes to my mind is a reporter got hold of something and blew it out of the water. That's the only thing I could make sense out of it. But nonetheless, he's on my team. He's going to win a cup with Brad Park, Borgio Salming, Marcel Dion, and Dale Howard-Chuck. But my goalie is the toughest I had to pick. So I'm leaving him for last here. Because when you think of great goalies, all great goalies should have a cup, right? However, Kiprusoff, greatest in the world for a short period of time, never got a cup. I thought about going with Pelle Lindbergh. Håkan Loob says he's a fantastic goalie. His Vezina backed it up. He was a short little man, very good. Cujo, many people would think that's the obvious choice. However, looking at my roster, they are a little soft. Let's be honest. So I need some team toughness. Ron Hextall's backing up my net.
That's a very slashy way to get some team toughness there.
Not just slashy. He's a fighter.
Oh yeah, he's mean. He's one of my
fighter.
favorite goalie highlights to watch. Are Hextall just being a dink.
Yeah, he led the league in penalty minutes for goalies of all time.
Yeah, so he had over 100 penalty minutes in 3 seasons. He was suspended 6 games or more on 3 occasions. He was a big dude at 6'3", 200 pounds. However, the unfortunate thing is everybody remembers that. They don't remember how good he was. They remember him for his fights, his breaking his legs, his hot temper, but he stopped the puck. The dude could flash the leather like nobody else. He won the Conn Smythe in a losing effort against the Oilers during their peak dynasty years back in 87, which is unheard of. Wayne Gretzky's on that team, Mark Messier's on that team, Paul Coffey, Grant Fuhr. The list is on and on with that dynasty, and here you go, the losing goalie gets the Conn Smythe. So he could play. The guy was good. He won the Vezina. He's the first goalie to shoot the puck and score. He also did it in the playoffs against the Capitals. And during that time period of the late 80s, mid 90s, a lot of goalies struggled. They had to change their style. They had to adapt a little bit. And he was able to do that with some success. Unfortunately, injuries did catch up with him, so he slowed down a little bit. However, he was so aggressive. I love how he came out. He would challenge the shooter. He took away angles, and he was a big man. He could move post to post, and who doesn't love the way he would rattle his post with his stick before every puck drop? That's something that's iconic with Hextall that nobody else has done.
There's something about goalies that can make them a little kooky, especially when they're good.
What's really kooky is the way he busted up Chelios.
Yeah, that was an ordeal. But I think that's a real nice addition to your team, though. You know, you needed toughness somewhere. You went to the crease, which is a little unorthodox, much like Mr. Hextall. And Hextall could move the puck fairly well for a goalie.
Oh, it wasn't fairly well. He was the man. He's the one who paved the way for the guys like Brodeur. So when the Flyers were playing shorthanded, quite frequently, the defenseman would pass it back to Hextall to ice it. I mean, you don't score 2 goals without being able to move the puck.
No, but he's a guy who'll be able to get it to, Bure to go burn defensemen, even if the 2-line pass is implemented, to get some goals too. So you added to your offense, you added some toughness, and I think that's an excellent choice of goalie. I like Hextall. I'm very partial to that guy.
Yeah, I love the way he played. Unfortunately, he did break my little friend Kent Nilsson's leg one year. Let's not, pick bones here, take the low-lying fruit and complain about it. It's happened, it's past, they're friends. But he didn't only just fight players, he did battle to make the saves. He made desperate saves at desperate times. The guy could do it. The guy stopped pucks. He was fantastic. He needs to be recognized for his play, not just his fights and his toughness. But I need some toughness in the 6'3", 200-pounder, number 27, former Quebec Nordique. He's my man.
It's a good way to get some toughness. I mean, I think my entire lineup would be in the penalty box, so at least with a goaltender, you could throw someone else off.
Yeah, he'd fit really well with your team. And I think, you know what, just for fun, I think I'd make them all wear the Quebec Nordiques jersey. That's probably my greatest of all time. Maybe the Kansas City Scouts, but yeah, they're all going into the Quebec jersey.
It's a nice looking jersey.